Here we are, day 29. I have 3 more days to go. I've had so much fun doing this video series, and I want to thank everybody who has been sending me in either suggestions or leaving comments or sending texts or emails. I thank you so much. Today, what I want to give you is my top 10 list for a smooth running gig. I had a student of mine that came and saw us play last weekend, and that was what he remarked on. He goes, man, it just ran flawless. You know, how do you do that? Every time I do a gig, all this stuff happens. So I came up with this top 10 list, so hopefully some of these things are helpful. Number 1 in my top 10 list, be early, especially if you're the drummer, okay? If you're the drummer to the gig, you got to get there early. You probably are carrying around more stuff than any other musician in the band. It's going to take you longer to get set up, and you're going to have to, if you're playing a club gig or you're playing a wedding or you're playing, you know, whatever, that's a smaller room, you got to get your stuff on the stage and you're in the back. If you get there late and the PA's set up and there's monitors and amplifiers and cords and you got to step over stuff, it's not only does it stress you out and it makes for, you know, the gig to be stressful, but you're kind of probably making everybody else in the band mad because you're tripping over their cables and you're kicking over the monitors, you're unplugging stuff. You know, don't do that to yourself. Get there early. I've had so many sound men over the years tell me, man, I got a lot of friends who are drummers because, you know, they're always the first ones here and we're talking before the gig, and then as soon as the gig's over, everybody else packs up and bails and I'm standing there with the drummer while he's packing up the gear and I'm packing up the PA system. And it's true, it happens to me all the time. So be early. That is so important. The next thing is, and this again, drummers, have big ears. Really listen to what's going on the bandstand. It doesn't matter if you are playing a small gig or you're playing a big gig. Your job is to create groove, time, and feel. Your job also is to kind of wrangle the band in and keep them together. You know, they call it driving a band for a reason, okay? So make sure that you're really listening and having big ears. If somebody in the band is having a little problem with the tempo, maybe they're rushing, you can give them a little bit more tempo on your hi-hat or your ride cymbal and pull them back in, right? Maybe if they're dragging, maybe you can give them a little bit more kick drum and push them along, okay? Either way, really have big ears and really listen to what's going on the bandstand. It will help you keep the band together so much. And what goes hand in hand with having big ears is have a good mix. When I was younger and I was playing in heavy metal bands, I didn't worry so much about having a good mix because a lot of times we were playing, you know, you're playing the Roxy in Hollywood and there's 6 other bands playing with you, and you get in there and you do a sound check, and if you're the last band, chances are pretty good by the time you get your drums up on stage and you go to play the gig, the mix has changed and it's not going to be the same at all. So I was never picky about it when I was younger. However, as I've gotten a little bit further along in my career and I'm playing more, I take a little bit of time now and I make sure that I have a good mix. I use in-ear monitors, and I make sure that I can hear everybody because of what I just said. You know, if you're playing and somebody's having a hard time with a certain passage of the song, or it's a tempo thing or whatever, if you have a good mix, you can really tell what's happening on stage and you can wrangle everybody together. And again, that's kind of to drummers, but hey, that's our job. Along those lines, okay, when you are the drummer and you're sitting back there and you're listening to the band and you're doing your thing, you're listening to the whole band, the one person that you want to focus on more than anybody is the band leader, okay? They're called the band leader for a reason. They're leading the band and they are leading the show. If you have songs that are being tied together and they're segueing together for the sake of a show, make sure that you know you're aware of that and you go right into it. But if the band leader wants to put, you know, a break in between songs, right, and he wants to tell a joke or something like that, or you know, tell a story or talk about, you know, they're selling swag over here at the table, whatever, don't, you know, focus in on what they're doing. They're the person leading the show. And what goes hand in hand with that is anticipate the next song, right? If you're playing and you are, you know, segueing songs together, Be aware of what the next song is. Look over your set list. You know, maybe during the last chorus of the song, okay, the next song, I got to stop and shut up so the band leader can tell a joke. Or I've got to just go right into the next song. So if you're playing with a metronome, you know, you want to get that ready, maybe, you know, get it ready for the next tempo so that you're ready to go into the next song. Going into that, the metronome, man, the metronome, I play to a click live. And some of the songs, I play all the way through the song, right? I start it, and I've been doing it for so long that I treat the metronome as it's another musician in the band who's got perfect time, and I play along with them. Some of the songs, though, however, you know, the band leader or the person singing the song might want the song to have a flow to it. You know, just to sell the song. Maybe during a breakdown of the song they want it to slow down a little bit if it's just a vocal and guitar thing or whatever. So some songs I'll turn the metronome off. But the metronome is, man, it's really saved my butt. Put yourself in this situation, because I've been there a million times. Let's say you're doing a gig and you're subbing, right? And you know the songs, but you're not knowing the songs as good as you do with your main band, right? This happens to me a lot in church gigs. And I know the songs, I've practiced them a lot, and I'm ready to go, but man, I'm still kind of questionable on a few things. Well, on my set list, if I have the name of the song, the lyric to the first line of the song, the groove to the song, and the tempo's going, I'm golden, right? So the metronome can really save your butt. Make sure that you can play with one. Make sure you know how to use it correctly. What goes hand in hand with the metronome are dynamics. Now, a lot of times people think that, okay, dynamics, if I'm playing a song really loud, I'm playing really fast. Or if I'm playing a song really slow, I'm playing really quiet. No, not at all. That's not it at all. But what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're aware of the dynamics of the song, okay? If you play the songs at the same tempo and the same volume level all night long, guess what? Sounds like one song. Doesn't sound like new songs. Sounds like one long song. So know the dynamics of the song and know the tempos of the songs. What I talk to my young students about when we're learning how to read music and we're looking at our musical dynamics, you know, you got piano, you got mezzo forte, you got forte, and so forth. I talk to them about how that is a conversation. You are having a conversation with the listener. You're talking, they're listening. Now, if in every conversation you had, the entire time you were yelling at them, the people you were talking to, they wouldn't want to talk to you. But if the entire time you were talking, on the other hand, you're talking to the people the whole time you're talking to them, well, they can't hear what you're saying. So they want to make sure that your dynamics, you know, that you're aware of them. You know, be aware of your dynamics. Again, groove, time, and feel. And the dynamics are part of the feel. Be very, very, very aware of the dynamics. When you are playing a song, it is a song. It is not a solo. Okay? Treat it as such. Play for the song. I have an entire clinic that I've put together called Playing for the Song. Now, I hate to say this, but the fact of the matter is that usually the people that are the most guilty of overplaying are drummers. And I know that because I'm a drummer and I've overplayed. Nobody likes that, okay? The most important thing for drummers out there is to play for the song. If you are playing Michelle by the Beatles, make sure that you're able to play a slightly swung shuffle. You can play a cross stick on 2 and 4. You can play 1 and 3 and the last note of the triplet on 3 and keep it the same from beginning to end because that's all Ringo did. Make sure if you're playing Tom Sawyer by Rush that you can go ba-bum, 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 right? Be able to do those things, okay? Play for the song. Again, you've got to pick your battles, but make sure the most important thing at the end of the day is that song. This one kind of goes, this one I've always held near and dear to my heart because I've always enjoyed having a nice drum set, keeping it cleaned up, and you know, it's kind of like having a hot rod. You know, you're always working on it and tinkering with it and making it better, right? Keep your drum set well maintained. Keep your musical instruments well maintained. You know, if you're a drummer and you're sitting up there and your snare drum head hasn't been changed in 2 years and it looks like the surface of the moon, chances are pretty good it's time to change that snare drum head. If one of your cymbal stands is as straight as a capital S and it falls over every time you hit that cymbal, you probably should replace that cymbal stand. Drummers, you are beating on these things with sticks. They're going to break. It's going to fall apart. Keep it well maintained. You know, guitar players, bass players, make sure your chords work and your pedal boards work, and you know, just make sure your gear's in working order. It's you know, to me, that's one of the things that, you know, I always hate when you know, you walk away from a gig and the gig didn't go good because something fell apart or broke. That's a drag. Last but not least, and I think this is so important, really be a student of the game. No matter how long you've been doing this, no matter if you're brand new to being in the music business or you've been in the music business your whole life, there's always something out there to learn. And it can be anything. It could be, you know, if you're in a top 40 band, you're going to have to learn, you know, the newest and latest songs. If you're in a wedding band, you're going to have to know some jazz standards and the latest songs. Be a student of the game, okay? If you get hired to do a gig, you want to come in and you want to be a pro and you just want to make it seamless, like my student was saying. So those are kind of some, you know, kind of some of the tips that I tell all of my students when they ask me about, you know, making a gig run smooth. But after that gig that I did the other day and my student came in and asked me about it, I was like, yeah, you know what, I'm going to come up with this list and I'll make a video about it. So there you go. There's my top 10 list on things that help make a gig run smooth. So once again, you got any questions? You got any, you know, thing you want to talk to me about? If you're local, look me up here in Southern California. If you're not local, look me up on the internet, bartrobley.com. That's my website. We can Skype. I'll answer all your questions. Thanks so much for watching. We got 2 days left, 30 and 31. See you tomorrow.